Hello?
Hello?
Why didn't you say anything?
I never say anything when you first get on because you used to be mean to me every time.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, you did. You'd be like, hold on, dude, I gotta do all this stuff. I'm a podcaster and I'm better than you. What's up, guys? It is Carly here, bringing you episode number 23 of the Netflix and Chill Horror Podcast. As always, I am joined by the homie JP. What is going on, JP?
I didn't realize I was joining you on the Horror Podcast.
Like, you couldn't have just let me slip up for a minute and get back to it and pretend that it didn't happen? Because I didn't think that was a major mistake or anything. I thought we could have just kept going.
Yeah, sure. We can if you want, but I mean, though, you said Powcast.
I didn't say Powcast. I said I fixed it in mid-sentence, like mid-pow. I went back to pod.
Oh, so you did say Pow.
Yeah, but I went back to pod. Like, you're making it sound like I just pretended that it didn't happen, but you could hear that I corrected myself.
Okay.
Do you want me to restart?
No.
Okay, well, like, you sound as though I embarrassed myself.
You did.
No, I don't want to.
Just kidding, come on.
Okay. What's going on, JP?
Oh, I was just making fun of you.
Are we actually, is this real life right now?
Yeah, this is live. People are listening to this in their earbuds.
Okay, well, like,
right
I can't
now.
tell. I couldn't tell if you were trying to, like...
They are listening to it right now.
No, they are not.
Yes, huh?
Dude, you're not recording it, I hope.
Yes, I am. At the time of me saying this, as these words exit my mouth, they are hearing them in their headphones.
How?
What do you mean, how?
It's not actually live, like live.
Oh,
It's
I know
just...
this, but I'm just saying, the words that I'm saying right now, somebody is hearing.
Yeah, but, like, not right now. Right now.
It's right now to them.
I'm just saying, like, right now it's like 1 a.m. and they haven't heard this yet, but so it's fine. We're good.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, anyway, we're back. Episode 23, keeping it rolling. How are you doing for the third time?
I was just making fun of you.
I know you said that.
Yeah, you asked how I'm doing.
Yeah, I know. But I meant, like, good. Are you doing well? You're doing well?
Doing well.
Yeah, that's not...
Anytime I'm making fun of you, I'm doing well. I'm doing better than you.
So anyway, it is my pick for this episode.
You tried to take last pick.
No. That should have been my pick as well. But once again, it was your pick for, like, the fourth. I don't think I did.
Yep.
I definitely didn't, actually. I 100% did not. I think you had to review that or something and you used me.
Nope.
Well, anyway, either way, this is truly my pick.
Okay. And what did you pick? Downrange.
No! Did you watch the right movie, buddy?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I picked Revenge.
Prevenge, we did that already.
Revenge, just plain old Revenge. I chose for this particular pod ep, and it is another film on Shudder that y'all can check out if you have Shudder. And I went with it because I had heard some decent things about it, and I thought it just looked pretty cool, and I liked the premise. So, yeah. Did you hear things about this film prior to going into it?
Yeah, but I kept getting it confused with Downrange. I don't know why.
Revenge, Downrange, I don't know. They kind of, sort of, not really sound alike. They both have a GE at the end. Yeah. NG. But other than that, I do want to do Downrange on the show as well, so that'll probably be covered, hopefully. But, so yeah. What do you think of Revenge?
You didn't even get into any of the deets.
Well, I keep asking you questions and you keep like not actually answering them. So,
What are you talking about?
like I asked if you heard stuff about Revenge prior to this, and all you said was, "Oh, I keep thought it was Downrange." LOL.
Yeah, I did hear. I remember people. Again, I can't remember which people, like, who was buzzing about which movie, but I think people were buzzing about this one. And I haven't really had my ear close to the ground on 2018 horror, so I think I remember when it first dropped, people were talking about it. But I try to avoid that stuff anyway, to a certain extent. But yeah, I mean, I did want to see it when it hit. I knew it was coming to Shudder.
Yeah.
I think Jeremy saw this a while ago, though. Actually, I think he was telling me about it. But yeah, it is a 2017 film getting its wide release here in 2018. And it is a rape revenge film.
Indeed.
Directed by...
Corelli Fargiat. Corelli what?
Fargiat.
Forgiat. That's about right. Also written by said person.
This is a French film.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are saying this is sort of a French extreme film, sort of a neo-French extreme, I guess another neo. I mean, the old ones were neo, but so sort of new. It definitely fits like that classic French extreme angle to me, like that you got with Martyrs and Switchblade Romance and Them, which I've never seen, and Inside, those type of films. I would kind of lump this one in there. What do you think?
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, it's definitely very gory, bloody, and just kind of a dark film. Very, very serious film with not really any comedic relief or anything like that. And I would say that definitely fits the criteria of all those other films.
So what if anything, has Carlyle Fargiat?
It looks like an easy name to say, but it's not. Let's see. Revenge. And says she's known for revenge, reality, passion of mind. I don't know.
Yeah, she did 2 shorts in a TV miniseries.
Which I'm not familiar with.
Featured directorial debut.
Mm-hmm.
So, did you know this film was directed by a female?
I did not.
You know what's funny? Is I didn't know, but I had a feeling. Is that
really
weird? I swear to God, I felt like when I was watching it, I had felt like this was probably directed by a female.
Yeah, I didn't really think about it, honestly, until now, but it's kind of interesting.
So, go ahead and give a synopsis.
Alright, well, the synopsis you get on IMDb is kind of awful, in my opinion.
Okay.
It says, never take your mistress on an annual guy's getaway, especially one devoted to hunting, a violent lesson for 3 wealthy married men. But really what you
get... That's pretty bad.
Yeah, it's almost like a joke. It's not even like really a description, but yeah, basically with this movie you get exactly what is implied, a rape revenge film. It's definitely that. You got this young girl, she's fooling around with this, attractive guy, and they're in the middle of the desert. They're at this nice house, and you see early on that it's kind of like an affair. The guy clearly has a wife and children, and so they really shouldn't be doing what they're doing, and everything's fine. But then the dude's 2 friends show up, I believe, a day early. They're not really supposed to be there, and everything is also fine, and they're all hanging out and partying and stuff. But then the next day, things get a little out of hand, and our main girl ends up getting raped and then left for dead. And of course, that is not actually the case, and she ends up coming back and seeking her revenge. So,
Well, spoiler alert.
I mean, how else would you?
No, I agree that we have to talk about it, but I just wanted to preemptively give a spoiler warning.
Uh,
So if you haven't seen this film, honestly, go check it out before listening, just because this one is impossible to dance around certain aspects.
yeah,
So yeah, you have this very attractive woman who is hooking up with this rich playboy type guy who's married with kids. His friends come over. He has to attend to some business, and while he is gone, one of his friends rapes his girlfriend, his love affair, and she's understandably distraught about this. And in a little bit of a surprise, the guy didn't seem to care too much.
yeah.
Like he
I mean, he kind of,
cares, but
yeah.
he
He seems
doesn't.
like he seems like he does. You kind of think, oh, he's gonna kill his two friends or something like that. He's gonna go psycho on them, but then you end up with a totally different vibe about this dude, and you're like, oh shit.
Yeah, so kind of an interesting aspect. We don't really know what he does, but we assume it's something illegal, right?
Yeah,
Did you assume
yeah.
that or no?
I didn't really know what he did. I
Because he's
mean,
like
and it's
talking about like, you know, calling for the helicopter and stuff. You know what I mean?
yeah,
They're very isolated out here.
it's very vague, and just the locate, like you said, isolation. The location was very off-putting, and it's this very, very nice home just in the middle of freaking nowhere. So, it's all a mystery, really, what's going on with any of the characters,
Yeah,
their like backstory and whatnot.
this film is very, very thought out in a way. It's visually great. It has a lot of cool things to it, and I think the setup is fantastic. There's one aspect of this film that is truly, truly, truly just a head scratcher for me.
Wonder what that could be.
I even said this in my Letterboxd review, where I said this film could have been great if it wasn't for one aspect, and we all know what it is. Because if you've seen this film, you know the problem with it.
Yeah.
So, the setup, fantastic. I absolutely love the setup. I think that right away, this there's a lot of themes to this film. Obviously, with any rape revenge film, you have the theme of female empowerment and the male gaze. Jeremy used to talk about the male gaze a lot. So that's all there. The male gaze is very much there. And you know the obviously the female empowerment is there, where you have this woman who is, you know, tragically raped, and then she gets revenge, and you know, rises to the occasion in the most extreme way possible, and takes upon almost a unstoppable force like nature.
I kind of like how she's, he's obviously cheating on his wife with her, and she obviously knows about his wife and kids, because it kind of makes her, at the beginning at least, seem like not such a good person as well.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of like that aspect to it, and then you end up being on her side the entire movie.
Yeah, so you see her in, you know, bikinis and underwear and stuff a lot. You get a lot of scenes of her sexuality and just her beautiful body and things like that, like purposefully done to set up, you know, what happens. And she actually seems like almost like a free spirit. Like she's just there to have some fun. And she even dances with the guy who eventually rapes her, and you know, he plays it as if like she was coming on to him. I could see why somebody of like, his mind frame might think that.
Mm-hmm.
But in her point of view, you could tell that she's just being nice. She's just being playful and trying to have a fun time with everybody.
Yeah.
Right?
And yeah, yeah, I would agree. And that also deals with, it's very relevant how women are always like, oh, we can wear whatever we want and that shouldn't matter and we could do whatever we want. And at the end of the day, you can't rape a woman just because she's being flirty and acting that way. And
Yeah.
I like the scene you get the next day where she wakes up and goes out there and she's kind of just sitting with the guy that she danced with, and it's just a very, very uncomfortable scene.
Yeah, like
And
it's gonna. This is not going in a great territory.
mhm,
Yeah, it's like the next day after the drinking and all that, and she goes down and sits there, and you can tell she's visibly uncomfortable. So she decides to head back to her room, and then she's changing her clothes, and that's when dude shows up, which is already a huge no-no. And then right away, things get very tense and eventually lead to this rape. And this rape was done different than some rapes have been done in rape revenge films. I always say that there's multiple ways you can film a rape scene and it be effective. It can be graphic, like an Irreversible or an I Spit on Your Grave, and be effective. It can also be done like this film, in which it's very much a off-screen type of rape for the most
yeah.
part.
How do you
So,
how do you feel about that?
well, I feel like you can be effective in both ways. And
Mm,
I feel like this one was very effective because of the skillful filmmaking behind it. A film like Irreversible is effective because it holds on it and you're forced to sit there through it. While a film like this also makes you, sit through in your head type way. Instead of visually showing it to you, it shows you pieces of it, and your head fills in the blanks. So, in what I think was a fantastically designed scene, you have the third guy, the one that doesn't really talk. He walks in on the rape before it happens, and his friend basically tells him either get out of here, stay or whatever, and there's this sort of like long tense scene of him eating I forget what exactly he was eating, but it's like slowed and zoomed in, and that's just to sort of make the viewer on edge to see to the pacing of it is to show to make you sit there and wait to see what's going to happen. Is this guy literally going to just walk away, or is he going to stop, or is he going to try to do something? And by slowing the scene down, it makes you feel more uncomfortable, which is good filmmaking. And then he exits, like a lot of people probably assume he's going to do. He leaves, but he's not all. There's this moment of sadness when he goes out to the other room, and you could hear the sound of the rape, which in my opinion is just as strong as actually
mm,
showing the rape. Because the visuals that I'm getting in my head are terrible, and the sounds. And he goes up to the TV and he turns it loud so that he can't hear it. And I thought that was pretty powerful. And then we get a scene from the outside of like her hands and face against the window and stuff like that. So I thought it was done really well for that kind of rape scene, which primarily takes place off screen.
yeah, I would completely agree. And I think like you said, the sounds and her screaming are very realistic and very disturbing. And I personally prefer to not see everything and have it be overly graphic. And I think they did it effectively here, where you see a little bits in the beginning and then those small moments in the glass and all that, but you're not actually watching it fully. That's the way, if I have to watch rape, I mean, that's the way I prefer to see it done in movies. So I gets a thumbs up for me for this one.
I prefer whatever way the filmmaker feels like showing it to me, as long as it's done um, correctly, I guess. And like I
Yeah.
said, Irreversible is one of the more graphic ones, and I think it's one of the best in terms of filmmaking and how just awful it makes you feel. Um, and there's nothing attractive about the rape scene in Irreversible. It's just pure dread, and that's the primary example of one where it walks you through the entire length of the rape scene. So it can be done, tastefully as a rape scene can be, uh, in both forms, whether you see it or don't see it primarily. But I did really think that this one was very effective, and that's the key right there. Is whenever you decide to show or not to show, the end result must still remain the same, and that is an effective scene.
Mm.
It makes you, it makes you feel. That's what you're looking for, and this one did for me. So after that, like we said, there's this weird situation where you think that normally the boyfriend is going to be absolutely livid and he's going to try to kill his friends or something, or at least beat them up or something like that, and then maybe the tables will turn and they take him out, and then the girl has to avenge him and blah blah. But that's really not what happens in this film. He isn't 100. I mean, let's be honest, all these people are bad people, but there is a moment in which he tries to basically you can tell he's afraid of her being able to take them down or something like that. You know what I mean? She knows too much or something like that. He's
Yeah.
scared of her. So, but he does try to almost bribe her by offering her a bunch of money and a job in another place, not where her home is. He doesn't want her to go back home. He wants her to go somewhere else, I believe in Canada.
Yeah.
So that was kind of interesting. So we obviously, that establishes even more how powerful this guy is, how much pull he has with money and things like that. That's pretty interesting. It made me kind of wonder, what the hell this guy could be up to, what he's doing. But she, of course, declines because she wants to go home. She feels terrible. And that's kind of where it, goes bad. And she eventually takes off and runs through the desert, in which they follow her. She ends up at a cliff. The boyfriend tells her, all right, I'll take you home. I'll call the chopper, blah, blah. And then he pushes her off the cliff. And that's the moment of holy shit.
Yeah.
You're kind of like, what? What? And you're like, is this... So wait, is this just going to happen to another girl and then, you're going to...
No, that's what I said, buddy.
No, that's what I said.
No, that's what I was telling you.
I just said it.
No,
but I just said
I mean,
it.
Previously when we were
No,
talking about the.
I had thought that before you and said it, and then you agreed.
No, you definitely thought different, and
No, I didn't think different.
The way I
thought
thought
the
was.
same. You might have just
See,
said it out loud.
let me just hear me out, everybody, because JP is just still in the show here. I mean, yes, but I thought that was just going to be the intro to the film, and then oh, these are three just bad guys, and they're gonna go either rape another fool, or someone's gonna find out that their sister or whoever this girl was is deaded, and they're gonna come and try to take down these guys one by one. That was just my thought.
Okay, so I agree. I was thinking the same thing. Now, not only does this girl fall off of a pretty high cliff, it would be unlikely that you would survive falling from this height. Mm-hmm. But she also gets impaled through the center of her stomach by a tree limb, which at least is the size, at very least, of a Red Bull can.
Yes, that is accurate. So
she's hanging from this tree that she was impaled after falling off of a cliff backwards.
correct. And
it's
then
curtains, right?
yeah. Not only that, but you get some pretty cool shots, I will say, of just the wound up close and like ants and other bugs crawling all over her, it like in the wound and things like that. And you also get some blood dripping from her mouth and just all these very graphic close-up shots of her that would tell you, yeah, this girl is definitely dead and she's been here for probably quite a while at this point. So there's no coming back from this.
Yeah, and then she springs to life.
Yes.
So not only does she
fine.
spring to life, but she's now stuck in this tree that she's impaled on, and she literally, does the thing where her lighter's on the ground and she has to like throw something to grab it and pull it towards her. We've seen that a million times in movies.
Yeah.
But she gets this lighter and she lights the tree on fire under her. And that's when I was like, if I wasn't already annoyed at the impalement and the cliff fall, the fact that this is how she got down was even more ridiculous to me. That's not how fires work. Like, that's not how trees burn. Like, that's not just going to work like that. In fact, you're probably going to get your back burnt the hell up before the tree ever burns in half.
Yeah, and it happens so fast. And also, it's like she springs back to life and
with a giant hole in her stomach.
And she's immediately just full of energy and like able to do all that. And I'm pretty sure also once blood just starts gushing out of your mouth, that's usually curtains. That's like extreme internal bleeding, which it should be because the stomach is like a major area that you never want to get stabbed in, let alone stabbed all the way through.
Yeah, like there's so many organs there, man. Like that's like where all your organs are.
Like I was watching this scene just kind of with my mouth open, like what are we doing here? Is this for real?
Yeah, I literally called so much major bullshit on it. I was just like, I don't even know if I could continue at this point. And it's really unfortunate because the rest of the movie is fantastic.
And the thing is, you didn't have to do that scene like that either. You could have, had it so they accidentally
you guys wonder why Jason Blum doesn't want to let females direct movies.
But anyway, like you could have killed.
Well, that was a good joke.
I don't wonder that myself, but
no, because everybody was saying how Jason Blum
they were
said
all
that.
They were all being idiots.
Yeah, but then it's like it's funny because like
I feel like there's
the one good like female directed film from this year, like one of the good ones, and it's like has a major fucking dumb shit moment in it.
I could see maybe why you assumed this was directed by a female immediately, just because of this scene alone. Honestly, now that I'm thinking of it, just that whole females are invincible and powerful, so that is kind of
actually that
funny,
brings up what I was going to say is I think that the director wanted to showcase how resilient this woman could be. And it's almost like a extraordinary type circumstance that like she's fully aware that the people would die from this, but like she wanted to push it to the maximum.
Yeah.
And I think that's the wrong choice, honestly. I get it, but it alienates your audience from your film, which I guarantee anybody who was watching this film up to this point was enjoying it. So
yeah, but like
that's frustrating to me, and it's even more frustrating how she deals with the wound, and it's complete bullshit.
Yeah,
it's complete bullshit.
what I'm trying to say is they could have like actually had a scene like that, but there was many other ways she could have, quote unquote died and then came back and be okay.
Wait, are you
Like
under the impression that she actually died?
no, not died. Like I mean they
Because
think she
that
that's why I
is
said quote unquote like died. Like she didn't actually die. Like they
okay,
just
because
thought they
that's something that some people have like brought up, the fact that maybe she actually did die.
I mean what do you, like you mean she's
Like
like a
supernatural.
supernatural thing? Like
Yeah.
that's what I thought they were going for in that moment, but then I didn't think that the rest of the movie really. I,
There's
I
no
thought,
other evidence as
yeah, there's
far as I'm aware of.
yeah, especially later on what she does to kind of treat the wound, which she has to do in order to get through that. You wouldn't have to really do all that if you're already a ghost, but
Oh yeah, and the whole peyote thing, dumb. They use the peyote as an anesthetic.
mm,
I'm just not a fan of any of those moves in that section of the film, which is it's just extremely unfortunate. It's extremely unfortunate that that is what happened in this film, because you could have done it in so many different ways. Like I would have bought, although it would be unlikely, I could have suspended my disbelief enough to believe that she fell off the cliff and survived.
yeah,
Just the cliff.
yeah, that's yeah, me too.
I mean, people have fallen out of planes and lived. I'm willing to believe that, but I am not willing to accept that she fell off the cliff, got impaled through her stomach with a Red Bull-sized stick, and then nursed herself back to health with a beer can and a fire. You know what I mean? Like
Mm,
I just can't accept it. So now I'm in a very unique situation with this film, where I have completely decided not to accept this, but I still want to see what happens in the movie, so I roll with it. By the end of the film, I did feel like I liked the film a lot.
mm,
And, I'll get into more of that with my rating and things like that, but I was still just so hung up on the fact that there's this idiotic scene, frankly, idiotic scene in this film. It's completely dumb. It's completely dumb, and the person who wrote it should be ashamed, because it's to expect your audience to buy this is just a little too much for me. With no hints of, and like, you can do it and have like hints of supernatural things and explain it away that way. You don't have to for sure say that it's supernatural, but even if there was like hints of it, then at least the question's in the air. Well, maybe it was supernatural. And it would make it more acceptable. Like, I think Inside is very much like that. But I can't accept that in this film. However, that does not mean it's a bad film. It just means there's a really bad, poor choice in the movie.
yeah,
One
I
thing that
will.
I absolutely love, though, and I haven't heard anybody bring this up, but the metaphorical apple, the symbolic apple.
I don't remember what that
So
is.
so the girl bites into an or the is it the guy that bites into the apple? I don't remember. Somebody bites into an apple and sits the apple on the counter, and over the course of the day or so that they're there, the apple it shows shots of the apple dark, like browning. You know how the apple oxidize when the air hits it,
Yes.
and also it starts showing the ants crawling on it,
Mm.
and that apple is symbolic of what we see in a few scenes later with the girl. I just thought that it was really that was really well done.
Yeah, that's cool.
You didn't catch
Um,
that?
I didn't. I honestly didn't remember the Apple scene until you brought it up. But
Yeah,
um,
because she's like the same thing happens to her.
yeah. I mean, I like all the close-up shots you get of ants crawling on
She's just left there
things.
to rot and let ants crawl all over the apple, all over her. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get what you're. Yeah, I get what you're
It's
saying.
good filmmaking decisions there. That's good filmmaking decisions.
Yeah, I think there were several good filmmaking decisions throughout the film and stuff like that. But I mean, I will say after like just after her coming being resurrected or whatever, I did think about that scene throughout the entire rest of the movie and how unbelievable it was. And that's kind of like that just kind of sucked. But I was still enjoying the movie so much that I was trying not to care. But it was one of those things where I just kept thinking back, like she shouldn't be alive, and also the wound doesn't even after she heals it up, it almost because it goes all the way through her, and you don't really see a wound in the back of her.
Oh, it's stupid, man.
You know what I'm saying? Like I kept looking at her
Yes.
back, and I'm like, I don't. The stick's not even like sticking out. Like that in itself kept bothering me too. So. But I mean, when you get into the actual revenge portions and
There's some great revenge in this movie.
yeah, it's not like over the top and like in some movies where it's like pure torture or anything like that. There's a lot of just guns and knives and the basic stuff going on, but at the same time they're very gory and graphic as I've said multiple times with what they do, and there's certain points where I'm like really kind of grossed out and had to look away because of just how bloody and intense it kind of got. I also like the setting of them being in this big desert because it's like a big desert, but at the same time, it's just open land, so it's kind of easy to hunt people down and stuff like that. So I thought that was pretty cool in itself.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, like when her ear gets taken off and when she shoots that guy with the she has like a scoped shotgun that's shooting like slugs or something. But she shoots that guy in the shoulder and then the end with how much blood is in the house, like it is just awesome, dude.
Yeah, the end. I love that part at the end where there's just so much, and it's like a totally white house. I thought that was a really cool way to do it because then you really get to see just the couch and the walls and everything is ruined and it's slippery on the floor and it's just freaking nasty.
Yep. Yep.
Then there's
100% agree.
yeah, there's just like one part involving a foot that was just super super duper. I couldn't. That's the part I really couldn't watch.
Mm, I love it all.
Yeah. So this movie it just has like this sort of almost actiony, fast-paced vibe to it at times. Like especially even the ending, it kind of pops up saying revenge, and I feel like that one major flaw kind of went in with it, with how extreme it was trying to be. But at the same time, that still is a big problem for me. But I don't know. Other than that, I honestly don't have many other problems with the film. So
Yep. I agree, man. I mean, I think it's a great movie, minus that scene, which does
yeah.
hurt its rating. Um, so to get into ratings, you can go first.
Okay. Well, yeah, with this movie, like I said, I really didn't have any problems with it. I find that I do like these sort of revenge films because they do just have the great payoff when people are getting revenge after they've been done horribly, horribly wrong. And I like that concept. I love the main girl that you're following, especially, I just like her transformation from being this really pretty girl to the ending. She's just completely filthy and dirty. And I mean, her hair was blonde and now it's just like brown from all the getting wet and just dirty and all that. I really like that about it, as well as just the bloodiness and some of the just shots and visuals. Forgot to mention there's like a visual where she keeps seeing the guy who raped her as like this gross reptile type thing, and I thought that was pretty appropriate, and I actually really enjoyed that. But aside from that huge, huge, huge flaw, I really loved this movie, and I can honestly I don't know. It's weird because it's really not a forgivable flaw. It's probably one of the most unrealistic things that I've seen in a serious type of movie, if I'm being completely honest. But I liked the movie so much that I still came in with a 9 out of 10.
Wow. 9 out of 10. That is some
9 out
high
of 10.
praise. I
I
don't
know,
even
I
know if
know.
I have a 9 this year.
I have, I think, one other 9. I'm more in the 8.5 type of category this year.
Yeah. So, Revenge is a movie that I desperately, and I mean desperately, wanted to love and cherish. But unfortunately, I can't forgive this unforgivable act of filmmaking that happens in this film. It truly drives me bonkers that this was a decision that went from script to screen. It frustrates me because this is a movie that, had that scene been done slightly differently, I would have no question had this film in my top 10. And now it's on the cusp. I don't know if it's going to make it or not. And it's unfortunate because this movie has some great things going for it. But at the end of the day, a film is about more than just a half a good story. You know, it has to have the rest too. So I mean, I took some points off for that scene. I do still think it's definitely worth watching, for sure. It was one of my favorite watches of the year. I've watched a lot of decent movies this year, and this one stood out is pretty cool. And honestly, even though I hate that scene, it gave me something to talk about. So I do give this film credit, and this woman who directed the film. I'm very interested to see what she does next, because I do think she has talent. I just think that scene was really dumb, and I would love to. I tried to look up like interviews with her and stuff. She actually speaks French, I think. Like her Twitter is all French. So I wanted to hear if maybe she had an explanation, or maybe like I wanted to hear her thought process. I'm sure it had to been talked about to her by now, but I wanted to hear maybe her thought process, but it just didn't. I couldn't find anything. I didn't look too long, but yeah, I'm coming in at an 8 out of 10. Could have been a top 5 of the year for me, and it ends up being somewhere in the 10 to 20 range probably. But there's still more time in the year. Maybe I'll give it a rewatch. If there is one movie that I would rewatch this year, it'd probably be this one, just because I want to be able to accept it, but I just can't right now. So yeah, that is Revenge.
Revenge. Yeah, I
And
guess an 8 would be a fair rating. I mean, yeah, what were you gonna say?
yeah, I was just gonna say that that is it for Revenge. Next time, it is my pick, and I picked we're heading back to Netflix. We haven't been there in a little while.
Hmm.
My pick is the newly released Netflix original film, Cam.
Which is funny because I was actually on Netflix probably right when that movie got released, and I was scrolling through looking for something to watch, and I just kind of like moved past it because it wasn't, I think it was like in the thriller section or something. I just went straight to the horror section, but then you brought it up that we should do it on the show, and I was like, oh, it's this movie. So, yeah, I'm excited to talk about that one.
Yeah. So we'll see
Yeah.
you guys next time with Cam, which is my pick.
Yes.